Good morning, students. Welcome to the new session now. I think everyone of you understood about number system, that is whatever we have seen in the last classes. That is chapter 1. And today we are going to see the new chapter, that is chapter 14. The topic of the chapter is nothing but statistics. So you already know about statistics. So first we have to see the definition of the statistics. So it is one of the definitions. So there are so many definitions available, right? So one of the definitions, that is a branch of mathematics, statistics is, and it is related to collecting and analyzing and interpreting the numerical data of something. So we want to find out the result of something. We have to collect the data and have to analyze the data and related to the particular area. So this comes under statistics, right? In example, for example, the collection of the data from the students of a school, or census, or how can we calculate the population of the particular area. So everything comes under the statistics only. So that will provide the approximate or nearer result or relevant result to the particular that is a particular area or particular informations, right? So in that three main phases are there. So what they are? So one is collection of data, and another one classification of the data, and third one analyzing the data. So these are the three main phases under the topic statistics. So collection of data. So if you want to find out something in the relevant area, means first you have to collect the data, right? And then you have to classify them in a certain order, and then you have to analyze the data finally. At last you have to say the result. That result may be relevant to that information, right? So now we are going to see one by one. So first one, collection of data. In collection of data, how can we collect the data? How can we collect the data? So there are two methods are available. The first one is primary data. So primary data, what is primary data? So primary data is nothing but the information directly collected from the respective person by the investigator, right? Suppose if you want to find out the information about the students in a school, right? So the information about the students, it may be recorded in the office room, and the students also available from the school. If you go to the students directly and collect the information of that particular students from the students is known as primary data. Suppose instead of meeting the student, if you collect the data about the person from the office room, so that was already collected from the person or from the student, that is comes under the second type of data, that is secondary data. So secondary data is nothing but you have to collect the information that already stored in your source, right? So a well-known example, that is easy example, is nothing but if you want to collect the information about a students in your school, two methods are available, two cases are available. One is you can collect the particular information of the students directly from the student, that is the first case. So that is comes under primary data. And second one, without meeting the students, you can go to the office and collect the particular student's information that has already stored. So that is comes under secondary data. I think every one of you understood this, right? So these are the two types of collecting the data, right? And the next one, classification of the data. So after collecting the data, for example, what is the data collected from can we collect from the student? So the name of the student and height of the student, and which class he is studying now, and what is his weight, and what is the address of the students, or what is the phone number. This everything, this information, everything is known as the data, right? So after collecting these kind of information, how can we arrange them? That is nothing but comes under classification of the data. So there are three types of data are available. That means after collecting the data, we have to arrange it into three types. So first one, raw data, and second one frequency distribution data, and third one grouped data or continuous data. So after collecting the information, we have to arrange the information under these three categories, right? Now we are going to see one by one. So look at the example. The following are the marks obtained by the students in the subject of a class. So here some numbers are given. The numbers are nothing but marks. That marks obtained by the students in a class of a particular subject, right? So that is the information given. So how can we classify this information under three types of data, right? So what are the first type of data? Raw data. Suppose the information can be given or can be writing without changing anything in that form, it is under raw data. So look at the data here. So here the information given as it is without changing anything in that. So this type of data is known as raw data, right? And next type of data is nothing but frequency distribution. The same data, that is the same information, how can you represent under frequency distribution? So this form is nothing but frequency distribution. Frequency distribution or frequency table, we can call like this also. So here exists nothing but the different type of marks. So here look at here, how many numbers are there, how many marks are there? 12 marks are there. In that some of the marks are repeated here, right? But here in X you can write the different numbers, that is different marks, and write one more row in the second row, frequency. F stands for frequency, that is frequency distribution. So frequency means how many times repeated the particular number. That information comes under the frequency. So look at the number 10. So 10 here only one time is there, so 1. And look at 15. So 15, so here and here, so 2 times. So 15 repeated 2 times. And what about 20? So 20 repeated only 1 time. And then 25, so here 1, and here 2, and here 3. So 25 repeated 3 times. Similarly 30 repeated 2 times. 35, 40 and 45 repeated only 1 time. So the total observation is nothing but 12. So if you represent the data by means of like this, it comes under frequency distribution, right? But the total finally same. Here 12 data are there, here also 12. That's it. The form may be different, right? The format may be different. And the third one, grouped data. How can we classify or arrange the same information under grouped data? So look at the table. So here class interval, frequency. So class interval, that means here I represent the information within the class intervals, right? So here I splitted the class interval with the sum of the length. So 0 to 10 and 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. Right? So under 0 to 10, how many numbers are here? Before going to find out that, you should know about the limits, that is lower limit and upper limit of the class interval. Here 0 to 10 is the class interval, and that here 0 is nothing but lower limit of the class interval and 10 is upper limit of the class interval. And take the second interval. So in the second interval, 10 is called lower limit of the class interval and 20 is called upper limit of the class interval. Similarly, so here in the third interval, 20 is called lower limit and 30 is called upper limit. And the fourth one, 30 is the lower limit and 40 is the upper limit. And here 40 is the lower limit, 50 is the upper limit. And look at the difference between the two successive intervals. So the upper limit of the first class interval equal to the lower limit of the second class interval. Similarly, here 20 is the upper limit of second interval, that will be the lower limit of the third interval. So it is called continuous, right? It comes under continuous data. So look at here. So 0 to 10, how many numbers are there? Anything is here? No. The minimum is 10 only here. So when you are counting the numbers between the intervals, you can include lower limit but exclude upper limit, right? So if you want to find out the numbers between 0 to 10, you can include 0 onwards. That is 0 is a lower limit, and up to 9 only because we can exclude the upper limit, right? So from 0 to 9 no numbers are there, so the frequency, that is the number of times 0. And here 10 to 20 you can include the lower limit, so start from 10 onwards and then up to 19 only, not 20, because 20 is the upper limit, we can't include that here, right? So start from 10 onwards, so 10 is there, yes, and then 15 also there, so 15 here comes 2 times, so totally 10 and 15 2 times, totally 3, so the frequency is 3 here. And similarly in the third limit you can start from 20 onwards but up to 29, not 30, so 20, 21, 22 up to 29. So count how many numbers are there. So 25 lies between this interval, so 25 3 times are there, so 3, and one more number is nothing but 20. So the numbers are 20 and 25. So totally 4 numbers, that is 4 times are available here. And next 30 to 40, start from 30 onwards, right? So 30 onwards and up to 39. So 30 is there. So 30 here appears 2 times, twice, and then 35 also there, right? So totally 3. So here 3, and 40 to 50, start from 40 onwards and up to 49, right? So 40 onwards means here 40 is here and then 45 also there, so totally 2. So suppose 50 is available here, means you can include the 50 also here. So in last interval you can include the upper limit also, right? So totally, so 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 3 10, 10 plus 2 12. So the information are same, that is what is the information? What is the information given here means the marks obtained by the students in a class, 12 students in a class of any one of the subject, right? So that is the information, but we represented that same information under 3 types of data, right? So this is nothing but classification of the information, classification of the data, right? So next one, continuous data. So continuous data here, already you know that continuous data means the structure of the data is nothing but this one only. So is it continuous? First check the data here. So here 11 to 20, but next interval start from 21 to 30, and the next interval start from 31 to 40. Already I said, look at the last slide, the given data is continuous means the upper limit of the first interval will be equal to lower limit of the second interval. Then only it is called continuous data, otherwise not. Look at here, the upper limit of the first interval is not equal to lower limit of the second interval because start from next number. Similarly, look at here, 30 but here 31, right? So they are not equal, therefore it is not a continuous data. So how can we convert this into continuous data? Look at here, subtract 0.5 from the lower limit and add 0.5 to the upper limit. So we have to subtract 0.5 from the lower limit. So look, take the first interval. So just subtract 0.5 from lower limit, that is 11. So it will become 10.5 and add 0.5 to the upper limit. Here upper limit 20. So add 0.5 to this, so 20.5. Similarly do for all the class intervals. So subtract 0.5 from the lower limit, it will become 20.5 and add 0.5 to the upper limit, it will become 30.5. Similarly here also, so it will become 30.5, this one become 30.5, 40.5. Similarly 41 become 40.5 and 50 become 50.5. Similarly 51 became 50.5 and 60 become 60.5. Now look at the class intervals now, whether it is continuous or not. So here the first interval 10.5 lower limit and 20.5 upper limit. And what about the second interval? 20.5 lower limit and 30.5 upper limit. And are they same or not now? Yes, they are equal now. And similarly here, these two are equal. Similarly, these two are equal. So now we converted the given data into continuous type. So this is the procedure to convert the non-continuous data into continuous. So like this. But here in our syllabus, the continuous types of data is not given. So up to only second type, that is frequency distribution. But you know 10th standard definitely you are going to learn this one, right? Let us continue the next slide.